Bansalji, Chairman, New Delhi Institute of Management, and also I understand Sri Suresh Prabhuji, former Union Cabinet Minister and former G20 Sherpa, and all the dignitaries and participants and brothers and sisters who are present in the event. Namaskar to everyone. National Youth Day is celebrated every year on January 12th to honor the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, one of the India's most incredible spiritual and inspirational leaders who believed in the power of youth in service to humanity. On his 160th birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda, happy wishes to everyone on this National Youth Day. Let me begin my speech with a quote of Swami Vivekananda. He said, "Power is within you. You can do anything and everything. Believe in that. Do not believe that you are weak. Therefore, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached." What a powerful statement from Swami Vivekananda, and his thought is very relevant even today, even after 150 years, 160 years. His life's mission was to see India and its people to rise and reclaim its past glory. I think it is coming to reality now. In the last 8 years, they have achieved so much as a nation, and it is a time to look back, and particularly at the 160th birthday of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda's call for action, his call for strength and renouncement of weakness, not only led this movement for India's freedom struggle, but also showed the path which Indians must travel to attain the progress and well-being. Friends, as per the United Nations, the youth comprises 16% of the world's population. But look at, in India's population, India has the largest youth population in the world, around 66% of the total population, which is close to 800 million, is below the age of 35 years. So in 2020, the average age of an Indian was 29 years compared to 37 for China and 48 for Japan. So looking at the population, young population increased to close to more than 100 million in the last 10 years or so. That's a remarkable number jump for the young people of India. So today we are celebrating the National Youth Day. Understanding Swami Vivekananda and his message and putting it across to our youth is very critical. And also, it can be the simplest way to address many problems we are facing in India today. Because the youth are the solution. Youth can do things, they can change. This change has to happen with the younger population, and Swami Vivekananda was one of the tallest leaders of the world which has ever seen in the last few centuries. He was a monk, patriarch, and excellent orator, and a lifelong karma yogi. He has exemplified his teachings through his own life. That's most important. That means every one of us should learn that each one of us, what we are going through every day, can be a lifelong experience which can be shared with others. He chose the path of spiritual consciousness and tried to assuage the mental and physical sufferings of others in the physical world. He is a great ambassador for our Indian yoga. That yoga and meditation are the critical. So today, more than 180 countries have accepted yoga and meditation as, on celebrating the International Yoga Day on the 21st of June, which is very unique. And I think we should also congratulate our Honorable Prime Minister in making that happen for the entire nation. So on this day, we should remember Swami Vivekananda and his great contribution to the nation. He was a great observer of the human mind and the human society at large. By his lectures and speeches, Swami has inspired many youths and all kinds of people, and he's also given ideas of social service and character building. Swami Vivekananda dedicated his life to teaching and guiding the youth the importance of the social service and laying the groundwork of character and leader attributes. Today, in our higher educational institution, we should include this aspect of social service in every curriculum, so that we can take our students to the real world, and particularly our 6 lakhs or more villages, so that they can transform the way we leading the life at this moment. So Swami Vivekananda was a great believer in the potential of youth to change the world, and I strongly see this as an opportunity. With a large demographic population of youth taking up this cause, and India could be a leader in the world, and India could be a 5 trillion economy with only this youth movement, and through them only we can achieve this through different sectors. And Swami also urged the Indian youth to educate themselves and emphasize how service should be the focus of their lives. He also said once, in quote, "It's a privilege to serve the mankind. For this is the worship of God. God is here in all these human souls. He is the soul of the man." So this is the fantastic message of Swami Vivekananda. So friends, we are in the process of implementing National Education Policy 2020. At this critical time, when we are imparting NEP 2020, we must lay emphasis on creating a value-based educational programs for the last cohort of NEP 2020. All India Council for Technical Education has done tremendous effort, either through the induction program or many such programs where we are emphasizing these values and principles for a student in an educational institution. National education policy is also focused on individual development by providing flexibility in the course structure. NEP 2020 inspired by philosophy of Swami Vivekananda. Our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji said today in one of the speeches that the new education policy is focused on individual development by providing flexibility in the course structure. So you can very clearly see the Swami's vision about 160 years back, how it was. That's happening in reality today through our national education policy. Swami Vivekananda has inspired millions of youth over the years, and following his teachings, many have been serving the humankind through social developmental programs. Some of the pan-India organizations that are doing great service towards fellow human beings are many. I can go on naming, whether it is rural development or it could be a medical mission or youth forums, and many of them all are because of the youth jumping into this movement of Swami's vision. Thank you very much for inviting me for this program. I'm very happy to be part of this event on the National Youth Conference of 2023, organized by the New Delhi Institute of Management. Let me close my speech with, again, Swami's message to all the youth who have assembled here. Whatever you think, that you will be. If you think yourself weak, weak you will be. If you think yourself strong, strong you will be. Quote close, Swami Vivekananda. With these few words, I thank Professor Vishwa Mohan Bansalji for inviting me to this event. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. Namaskar.
Extremely grateful. New Delhi Institute of Management, its students and faculty are very thankful to you, sir. Please go ahead, sir. Hear that perhaps they are the luckiest because you joined Chairman AICT very recently, and we have perhaps spoken first of all at New Delhi Institute of Management platform. And as sir assured by you yesterday, we are going to have a big event around your views on the new education policy, where we will try to invite all the players of this field so that they have a bigger and better clarity with you, and students can really benefit out of it. Thank you very much for your time. We are very, very grateful.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, we'll move on to the next keynote address, and for that, I would like to request to call upon Mr. Suresh Prabhu, former Union Cabinet Minister and former G20 Sherpa, for his virtual keynote address. Mr. Prabhu received a bachelor's in law degree from New Law College in Mumbai and is a chartered accountant and a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He has been India's Sherpa to the G7 and Chancellor of Rishihood University. He was the Minister of Civil Aviation, Railways, Commerce and Industry in the first Modi ministry. We welcome you, sir, and I now request you to deliver the keynote address.
So, good evening, good afternoon, friends. Let me thank all of you for deciding to organize this very interesting event. And I thank my dear friend Aditya Tikku for taking lead in making this event a reality. As you know, today we are celebrating Swami Vivekananda's thought process. He was born on this planet with a mission. He carried out the task of making sure that not only the land where he was born, not only the country where he was born, not only the environment in which he grew up, but his mission was to develop the entire humanity. He always felt a need that human beings can be developed, and then only the society will get developed and the society will lead to development of a nation. But the whole purpose of development of nation, society, and the whole purpose of developing humanity. What is the purpose of all this? What is the purpose? What is the mission? The mission is very clear. That we are individually with some purpose. Most of us die without even knowing the purpose. Forget exploring the purpose. We don't even know that we are born with a purpose. So the very existential crisis is in the human being is that most of us, even we don't know why we are here. And that's what Swamiji wanted to rejuvenate the entire society with a purpose of making sure that human beings will lead the change, and the change will lead to transformation of society, humanity, and hopefully all, by then there was very small number of people than what we are today. We are 8 billion people on the planet. And was born, probably there were not even 25% of them. But he felt that even that population collectively can transform the humanity of each one of them. We can make sure that the soul of that body is transformed in a particular way. So Swamiji's thoughts was first, he said, awake. What did he mean by awakening? Was he talking about getting from the sleep? Yes. But what sleep? We have a bodily sleep every night. Some people sleep in the morning and work at night. But those people who get up from the sleep, they start their routine every now and then. Again at the night they go to sleep. But then what was Swamiji's purpose of awakening? Normally when we are sometimes to get up early, we use alarm. So awakening from alarm, awakening from the natural sleep, was it what Swamiji meaning? Swamiji's meaning was awaken from your potential, what you have within you, try to use it and try to take it forward. We feel today Swamiji's thoughts are so important because the world is in crisis. And world is in crisis not because of any external situation. World is in crisis because of human beings themselves. Wherever there is a war started by the human, If the crisis on climate started by the human, if there's a crisis of social injustice because of humans, if there's economic inequality because of humans, and that human being is the cause of the problem because his real strength within him is not awakened. He's still not knowing why he is here. And if he's awakened from that slumber, from the possibility of doing something transformative, the world will not have these kind of problems. Because we'll start hating anybody, we'll start starting wars, we'll stop doing the social inequality, we'll not try to have greed that is the cause of economic problems. And all of that can happen by following the path that was shown by Swamiji. Swamiji was particularly clear about youths. Why? First, they have much longer time to live than the elder one. So there is a good chance for him to awaken, use his inner strength. But also because the youth have one great distinct advantage over others, that is, they don't carry any past baggage. They are not constrained by the past experiences. They don't get influenced by some of the practices that have been followed in the society. Swamiji was against all this. He was feeling that every person must know what he should be doing, and therefore he must have that inner strength to follow his conviction. He must do what he wants to do, but for that he must know what he wants to do. If somebody wants to do something, for that he must know what he really wants. And that is why the awakening is necessary. And today, I'm sure Mr. Aditya Tikku also runs a counter-terrorism council. The cause of terrorism is a wrong thought. If you want to counter terrorism, you must follow the right path. You must change your thought process. And the thought process can change only when you are awakening within yourself. So Swamiji's whole idea of awakening has to be seen in that light. I am sure the youth of today have a responsibility for tomorrow. But youth of today or youth of any time, or for that matter, every human being has the responsibility to himself or herself. If you fail to know why you are here, you have wasted an opportunity given to you by the God. Despite the fact that we are 8 billion people on the planet, there are many more living beings on the planet who do not have the advantage of being human beings. If you are a human being, you have a responsibility. You have a duty towards yourself and towards the society, towards the nation. So you must follow that. Swamiji was very clear when he landed from his overseas trip from Chicago. He came by ship and he went to, while he stopped in Europe, he came and he first landed in the subcontinent in Colombo. The first time he landed, he was received by the Hindu community there. And the president of the Hindu committee, which was formed to felicitate him, made some very interesting comments. Swamiji didn't speak much on that first speech, but he referred to the president's speech by saying, this is the land, Bharat is a land which is very blessed. He talked about many empires which are no longer there. And he said, all these empires are gone, but Hindustan, Bharat has remained as a land which can show the way to the rest of the world. It has the ability to redeem the purpose of everybody's life and also to discover the right path to be followed. So Swamiji today has to be remembered for his thoughts. His body has left us, but not his thoughts. Thoughts can always remain and they are eternal. But only if those thoughts are followed, there is a meaning to the thought. Otherwise, it will become another abstract idea, which we sometimes celebrate additional time forget. So I think today is the day when we should remember him, who stood for what he preached. It's our duty to practice put the way to us and teach us. Thank you very much.
Sir, for your words of wisdom. Now I request everybody to stay seated while we make the necessary arrangements on the stage for the next session. Meanwhile, the third session is on the theme sustainability, our challenge and our future. And the moderator for the session is Dr. Shailendra Singh, and the panelists are Professor Sudhir Supori, Colonel Dr. D.P.K. Pillai, Mr. Sivesh Kumar, and Advocate Suruchi Suri. I request all the panelists and the moderator to please come up on the dais once the arrangements are being done. In the third session, can we have a round of applause for our panelists? So it's my pleasure to announce the moderator, Colonel Dr. Shailendra Singh, and the panelists, Professor Sudhir Supori, Colonel Dr. D.P.K. Pillai, Mr. Sivesh Kumar, and Advocate Suruchi Suri. Now I would like to request Professor Praveen Kaur, NDIM, to please come up and welcome our guests with the NDIM Green Initiative. Now allow me to introduce our moderator, Colonel Dr. Shailendra Singh, advisor, GCTC and defense analyst. Colonel Singh has been a national footballer, proud gunner officer of Bofors Gun, Glacier and Kargil war participant, and he has been the deputy CEO of Tollygunj Club. Dr. Singh has vast experience in the field of administration, security, facility management, and event management. And he has excellent PR skills and has interacted with high-level dignitaries across the world. We welcome you, sir. On the panel, we have Professor Sudhir Supori, Executive Council Member, GCTC, former Vice Chancellor, Jawaharlal Nehru University. Mr. Supori is an Indian educationist, plant physiologist, scientist, and former Vice Chancellor of JNU, New Delhi. He is an elected fellow of several major Indian science awardee academics and the World Academy of Sciences, and is a recipient of many honors, including the 1987 Santi Swarup Bhatnagar Prize, the highest Indian award in the science and technology category. The government of India awarded him with the fourth highest civilian honor of the Padma Shri in 2007 for his contributions to science and technology. A very warm welcome, sir. Next on the panel, we have Colonel Dr. D.P.K. Pillai, Research Fellow, MD, IDSA. Colonel Divakaran Padma Kumar Pillai is a former Indian Army officer. After graduating from the National Defense Academy in 1988, Dr. Pillai was commissioned into the 4th Battalion of the Brigade of the Guards. He saw active service in the Indian states of Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir before moving to the 8th Battalion of the Brigade of the Guards, deployed in India's northeast. He was severely wounded in counter-insurgency operation in Longdi Babram village, a hamlet in the remote Tamenglong district of Manipur in India's northeast, where he saved the lives of 2 children. He undertook the journey back to the village where he was wounded in the firefight and subsequently for delivering development and humanitarian activities in the village in the remote district of Tamenglong. A very warm welcome, sir. Next on the panel we have Mr. Sivesh Kumar, founder and CEO Startup Monk. recently founded Startup Monk, where he's trying to bring all stakeholders of the startup ecosystem on a single platform. He enjoys raising startups and moving forward to the next one and loves it. He mentors early stage startups with their strategy and business plans. Lucky to be the part of the mentors pool of IITK, IITD, IITB, IIMR, etc. He's a part of a jury panel member of some elite incubators, accelerator, demo days, and investor pitches. He strongly believes that the path between idea and making a startup sustainable is the toughest, and hence come up with the startup school. By education, he is BSc Maths Honours and MBA in Human Resources. He is a certified photographer as well, and he is a spoken TEDx speaker. A very warm welcome, sir. And our final panelist is Advocate Suruchi Suri, partner Suri and Company. Miss Suri began her career at the chambers of late Mr. Gulam Vahanvati, Solicitor General of India and former Attorney General of India, prior to joining Suri and Company. Ms. Suri has expertise in infrastructure laws, corporate and commercial laws for ports, electricity distribution companies, banks and corporate entities. Ms. Suri also appears regularly before the Supreme Court of India, High Courts in India, and specialized tribunals such as Appellate Tribunal for Electricity and National Consumer Disputes Redressal Commission, the Competition Appellate Tribunal, the Customs, Excise and Service Tax Appellate Tribunal, as well as arbitral tribunals. A very warm welcome, ma'am. Now, I request our moderator for the session to take over. Over to you, sir.
Bacha Party, Jai Hind. Jai Hind. No, this I didn't hear it. Jai Hind. Jai Hind. That's it. That's the better one. We have a drill in army, and I will have to undergo that because once in army, you are always an army man. So I will ask the most experienced youth here, Mr. Vijay Tikku sir, to please stand up to show the face to everybody that he and Bansal Saab are the creators of this function. Everybody has been giving credit to Aditya Tikku. No, he doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it. This is the man who created Aditya Tikku. He is father of Aditya Tikku, and he is the main founder of GCTC. He and Bansal Saab conceived this idea that yes, let's do this youth conference in a different way. And that is what happened. Sir, may I have your permission to start? Please. Thank you, sir. I must do a small correction because we are very particular that if an officer's name is mentioned and his decoration is not given out. Colonel Pillai has got a distinguished award of Shaurya Chakra. This is not a normal thing to happen. I can only tell you, मेरे रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं ये सिर्फ देखकर, सुनकर, बोलकर. He is a Shaurya Chakra awardee. And what a great honor to me that I am sitting with him. I can only tell you, this is a rare thing to happen. You don't get a Shaurya Chakra coming to an auditorium just like that. But notwithstanding, I am equally impressed with Chupori sir's JNU background, where he has been a vice chancellor. Oh my God, sir, it's an absolute privilege for me to be in your company as an educated man versus a little less educated man, which I am. Oh, Shivesh, you happen to be creating a startup. Amazing. Every one of you should be aspiring to do a startup. Don't look for jobs. That is not what youth is all about. Look for startups. Combine together. I'll cover that. Combine together to make a startup. And wherever you get stuck, we have Suruchi to help you out in legal terms. कि जेल नहीं जाना पड़ेगा. ये पक्का assured है कि आज के बाद हम में से किसी को जेल नहीं होगा. But she'll be able to save us with that kind of experience. I must tell you this. I have worked the whole night to prepare for this event because I was quite tense. That इतने पढ़े लिखे लोगों के बीच में बैठकर बोलना अपने आप में बड़ा मुश्किल काम होता है. But then I'll make an attempt because I have to do this program was told to me 2 minutes back. And that's why, and oh yes, I must give you a little educative looks by wearing a spectacle. Because कहते हैं ना कि जिसने spectacles पहन ली है वो तगड़ा आदमी है. So अब मैं भी आप लोगों के साथ पढ़ा लिखा हो गया. Sustainability, our challenge or our future. Yeah, that's not for me, that's for you. And when I called Vijay sir, experienced youth, let me tell you, each one of us sitting here on this stage also happen to be youth only. You and me are youth. It is only matter of we are little more experienced youth. That's all. Because when we talk of youth, we talk of age, it's just a figure. And that figure is only in mind. I don't know. At heart, if you are young, you are youth. And you will remain to be a youth. With that, I start this discussion. I must tell you this, it's not easy to be in your shoes at the so-called not so experienced youth. You people have got tremendous challenge. In my time, in Sir's time, the challenge was little less. We had a science stream, we had an art stream. In science stream, we had engineering, we had medical. But you have tremendous things. And since you all are management student or belonging to this college, I put this challenge to you also. That somebody said it very well in the previous session. पढ़ाई पर ध्यान दो, जरूर ध्यान दो. मैं आज आप लोगों को एक नई चीज बता रहा हूं, अपने ऊपर ध्यान दो. How right you are, how right you want to be. That is what is youth all about. आपको अच्छा लगता है, आप मोबाइल बढ़िया से बढ़िया रखो. आपको अच्छा लगता है, गूगल को सर्च करो. आपको अच्छा लगता है, जो चीज आपको अच्छी लगती है वो जरूर करो. लेकिन बाकियों की सुन जरूर लो. और मैं आपको सुनाना चाहता हूं that you have a very, very big challenge in terms of economy. Because all of you are going to either get benefited or contribute or spoil my economy, my country's economy. I'm quite worried. And there's a challenge for you. Another very big challenge for you is the climate. Unfortunately, little less educated people like us are not leaving behind a very, very bright climate to you or an environment to you. It's not very bright. So I want each one of you to be very serious that where is our environment going? Where is our climate going? Why this pollution every time? What can we do about it? Make a startup on that. Think about it. Talk about it. Somebody said it very well, if required. Please join politics to stop this. If you have to, if you have a flair for it. You must do it. And last but not the least, that whatever you do, it should be sustainable. You should sustain it. Whether in terms of your contribution to economy, or for that matter environment, or for that matter yourself. Because unless you sustain, nothing will happen. Nothing good will happen. By the time you all have kids, they will be asking you that what is this? What's going on? What are you leaving me? आज हम बोल रहे हैं severe pollution, severe level. I think we will create a new word which will be a little ahead of severe. Because severe was called only between 4 and 500. What about more? When it reaches 700. So please be conscious about it. There is a huge challenge in front of you. There is a huge opportunity for each one of you to contribute, to excel, to be known, to achieve. If you are only for earning, even from earning point of view, whether you contribute in economy or in environment or sustainability, you will earn more. Very simple. Now it is up to you how you want to take it. Now with that, I must ask Dr. Supuri, sir, because he is from the JNU, that sir, for sustainability, what do you think? What do you think that we can assist them to understand in terms of education, in terms of sustaining all these fields which they are in, all the challenges which they are in? Sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Singh. Difficult to sustain even JNU. Sustaining the whole planet becomes even more challenging in future years. Now, sustainability is a buzzword, but a very important word. Because what this elder generation has done in the last 150 years of industrialization, they have utilized a lot more than rejuvenating. So there has been, I describe it as more extractability and less rejuvenation. And because of this imbalance which has been created, it's basically an equation, sustainability. So because of this imbalance in this equation, we have landed ourselves in a situation where this word sustainability has now been prefixed with every other issue in this world. There are many journals which are on sustainability, and I was looking at one of the societies of those sustainability, and they give at least 20 items where everything is prefixed with sustainable. My own area of interest, of course, is in sustainable agriculture and sustainable environment. But you have energy sustainability, economic and business aspects of sustainability, I can go on, sustainable transportation, geography and sustainability, sustainable oceans, sustainable forestry, so on and so forth. So if you look at even the words which I'm now reading from here, that the challenge which the future generation has to face is how to reverse what wrong we have done, and also not only to reverse but make it sustainable. The equation should be as much input, same quantity of output. And this is going to be a major issue. Why this is going to be a major issue? Because we are going to have adverse effect of different parameters, and one of these parameters is going to be population explosion. In another 20 to 30 years, this planet will be somewhere like 9 billion people. Now, while we are adding that much level of so many human beings on this planet, the aspirations of these people, because of the economic growth which we keep pushing forward and forward, we want 7% economic growth, 10%, so on and so forth. The buying power of the people, as well as the aspirations of the people to get the best for their living. All of you are now going to get your degrees, you get jobs. Each one of you want the best of the comfort. Every room should have ACs. You will have 2 refrigerators. You want more cars. So while the population grows, aspiration goes, and your standard of living, you want to compare yourself with the Western world, who have already destroyed this planet to a larger extent, and they now tell other countries that they must behave. This is going to be happening here because we older generation have made the best of it, and we want you to control and reverse the process. So it is putting a responsibility on, as very rightly Dr. Singh was saying, that we have overused the resources of this planet for the greed of human beings, and therefore spoiled different environmental degradation is there, oceans, as I was mentioning, water problems are coming up, agriculture problems there, and all the issues related with that one. So in future, I feel that it is going to be a multi-complex issue. So it's not one person who is going to solve this, not one domain of expertise is going to solve it, not one nation is going to solve it. That's why we call it a global issue. Global warming, when we talk about, it has to be solved at the global level. But are the countries, different countries across this world, willing to cooperate and do it? And therefore, United Nations always meets, and they have set up the goals of United Nations Development Sustainable Goals. 17 UNDP, those sustainable goals have been made. And what happens there? They set up a deadline. They set a deadline for developing countries, for least developing countries, for nations. And after every deadline, they extend the deadline. So the very fact that all the multinational peoples together cannot meet the deadline, and this has to be extended, you can foresee the kind of problems people are facing. It's not only a technical problem. Technology interventions can be there, but it's also policy interventions. It's also whether you're willing to do it. And that's where what Vivekananda used to say, that is eco-spiritualism. One of the terminology which he used, eco-spiritualism. Once that is ingrained into you, the spiritualistic teachings, then you will use the environment, you will use the resources very, very precisely, so that you don't overuse these resources. So I think it's going to be a major challenge in future in many different aspects. It's not only one aspect. In fact, I was in a meeting recently in Mohali. It's an international meeting. The title of this was Sustainability for Nutrition and Agriculture Productivity. And it was a 5-day conference, 60 scientists across the world, many scientists from here, but finally at the end of the day when we had discussions, we had no solutions to this. Everybody said what I'm doing, but in terms of a timeline, that by this timeline we'll be able to achieve, we're not really right there. So I think this is going to be a challenge for you. I don't tell you what you should be doing, because our younger generation is far more educated, you have a lot more knowledge at your fingertips, not like in our time, running to the library and finding a journal which used to come after 3 months, but you have the publication at your hand, the next day it is published. So you are much more knowledgeable, technology is with you, your skills are much better. So I'm sure you would know, you have to find out a way for yourself. I'm, from this panel, not going to advise what you should do or how you should do it. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Sir said leaving behind not much. Let me tell you, I had a good appetite, that's why I'm eating too much, and that is why I'm not leaving behind so much for you. So you have to carve out your requirements yourself. You will have to guide your parents, you will have to guide your दादाजी. दादाजी आपने सब कुछ तो खा लिया, अब क्या छोड़ा है मेरे लिए? आज अगर सर बात कर रहे हैं sustaining the agriculture, oh my God, why can't there be a startup on that by somebody? And you are the management student, you are the one who will do it. And by the way, don't go by my spectacles, that is only to impress you that I am educated. Otherwise, I can read it without it. There was another one. Oh yes, job. Sir, I had spoken about a job. I want to know from any one of you, in 5 seconds, what is your job as youth? I want to know. Let's have one from this side. What is your job? This group. अरे यार कोई भी खड़ा होकर बोल, मैं बोलता हूँ, बोलो. Somebody has to speak. For now.
To make this world a better place.
Oh, make the world better place. This side, one.
Contribute to the country's economy.
Contribute towards your Indian economy. Fantastic. Last one. My bench. The last bench.
To make a better India.
Oh wow, that is beautiful. That is beautiful. That's why I said it's my bench. So, मेरा influence कहीं तो काम करा. I suggest that lay out only one KRA for yourself, whether it is economy, whether it is environment or anything. Do something. Your job and my job is to make my country, my planet, my world better, best. India first is your best bet. If you are able to do that, you will never feel guilty. Now for doing that, since economy is a very good part, and I insist that don't look for jobs, do a startup. So Sivesh is going to tell us how best, because you are all aspiring to enter that field, that how we can assist ourselves and the youngsters in creating the startups.
Thank you, sir. How many of you are aspiring to run your own ventures? I just need to see some hands out there. Yes, still there is only like 3 to 4% out there into the entire year. There is difference between working for somebody else and giving job to some people out there. So just think in that manner. Though there are struggles into startup, it is not easy to raise a startup. When I did my startup, it was in 2012. 3 बजे सुबह में I used to visit Nehru Place and newspapers में pamphlet डालते थे. Being a founder, so it is not going to be an easy task to do. But if you want to contribute to the country's economy, if you want to leave a world better for the next generation, or if you want to build India, all three answers which came from the students out there, you need to build something from your own side. If you are joining, you can say any MNC out there, the chances of improving things won't be much there. You need to think of your own. Now let's come back to the topic of the panel, the sustainability. As Singh sir was telling, that we need a lot of innovation into the agriculture, how to make agriculture more sustainable. So I think the introduction which was given by the presenter out here, Bansal sir was after me for my intro, but I was like too busy to provide the updated intro. So we also have a VC fund, venture capitalist fund, where we are funding deep tech startups. So in our portfolio, we have Blue Smart, which is a sustainable mobility startup. They are doing good. We have a startup by the name of IKEA Foods. So they are setting up farms into barren lands. Like they started with Rajasthan. They are using only 20% of water. They are doing the vertical farming. And they are making news all across. They are doing so good. And they are profitable. The best thing is that they are profitable. So if you want to do anything into startup, sustainability is the new thing. Previously, we as a VC firm, we always had our insecurities when we talk about the sustainable startup. Because in sustainable startup, the product, a lot of research and development goes into it. So, and to make a startup self-sustainable, or to make it a commercial, which is working into the field of sustainability, it takes somewhere around 7 to 8 years. And VC have a period of 10 years to exit from that. So returns were not that good. But recently we have seen a trend. So I was just reading something into the morning, that India has received a fund of somewhere around $3.84 billion for clean tech, climate tech. So which is a big number. It is almost like 10 times from the last year. So people are investing into sustainable startup now. There is a group of impact investors who are putting money into sustainable startup. So previously it was more or less that if you want to do anything into sustainability, it is going to be branded as an NGO. But now social entrepreneurs are coming forward. They are building startups which are profitable as well. Livelihood will be there. You will be able to provide, you can say, employment to a lot of people out there who are less privileged than you. You are going to make profit out of it. You are going to help your country's economy. You are going to build your company. You are going to leave world a better place for the coming generations. So these are things which I think being a student you should look forward to. And the numbers are going up. People are getting funded. People are getting funded into sustainability. People are getting funded into clean energy. People are getting funded into agri-tech. People are getting funded even for drone deliveries, because there also a lot of livelihood is getting created, which is also one of the sustainable goals. So you need to find out a solution. There will be problems. Startup, when we talk about startup, people think that, okay, we need to have an idea to work on it. Ideas are basically the consumer problems which are existent into the market. So you find a problem, work onto it, make world a better place for the coming generations. And I think you will have a good, not only you are generating money for the economy, but you are also doing good for the society as well. So that will be my take. And one thing I just wanted to, so it will be foolish for me to say this thing, but as Professor Sudhir said, that we are going for a population blast out there. So I was reading a report like a week back in which they mentioned that we are going to have a population collapse into 50 years of time. The data out there was when the sales of adult diapers increases the sale of infant diapers, then we are moving toward a population collapse. In Japan, in US, and in some countries into Europe, the sale of adult diapers have increased significantly, and the sale of kid diapers has gone down. So this is completely what I read. I am not advocating it, but yeah, we might be going for a population collapse in the coming future. So yes, again there is something to work on the sustainability out there. So thank you, sir.
Sivesh, you said it very well that you would like to be foolish. Let me tell you, this world likes foolish people more. We are in love with you because we all know that there is somewhere or the other, each one of us have done some foolish act, sometime or the other. And that is how we are all here. So your being foolish is actually beautiful for all of us. I can only say that.
Thank you, sir.
You said you got up at 3 a.m. Don't get discouraged. वो 3 नहीं 3:30 बजे जाता था. आधा घंटा मैं आपको दे रहा हूँ. अगर आप 4 बजे भी जाएंगे काम करने के लिए, you will still be very well off. You will do very well. Let me tell you. He said something about barren land. Sivesh, I am making you available a very beautiful barren land. This lot, this organic mind is totally barren as on today. And each one of you have got an opportunity to sow what you want. Your products will be all organic, which is the craze today. And I'm very happy with that word employment because all of us are being taught in various colleges and institutions that employment, हमारा job लगता है. What a beautiful thing. You do a startup, you are giving employment. You're giving to 10 more people. So why take a job which is only 1 versus 10, your own and 9 more? Look at it that way. So people who think that no, startups are difficult or not, well, that is what you are for. That is what you are. That is why you are youth and I am old. Or not old, not so big youth. गलत हो जाएगा ना, मैं old कैसे हो सकता हूँ? The best part of a startup, I like that, is that you are the master of your own passion. That is the better part of it. Whether it will give you an income, less, more, whatever, doesn't make difference. But it will give you. It will give you the best thing in life, and that is called as satisfaction. So there, and while earning that satisfaction, don't go wrong, just because Miss Suri is here to protect us. But Miss Suri, I would like to take you away from the law. I would request you that if you can tell us that how the businesses aspect of sustainability legally can be taken forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sir. I'll take off from where Sivesh mentioned. I would like to introduce you, since I understand all of you are budding management professionals. The impact investors he's talking about are going to look at the ESG, the sustainable ESG compliances of companies. And I'll be speaking about ESG today. ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance factors. And ESG talks of sustainable investing. So people will invest in companies that have good ESG parameters. The investor has become conscious of his or her responsibility towards environment and society. Previously, you knew this as CSR, but I will explain to you the legal requirement of ESG, which recently has been mandated by SEBI as well. But very briefly, countries across the world have been inculcating ESG in their regulatory framework and require strict corporate compliances. The corporations have to define the impact of the corporation on climate change due to greenhouse gas emissions, the method for its reduction along with biodiversity practices, and optimal water usage. These compliances make corporations mindful of resource depletion, sourcing of raw materials, global warming, carbon emissions, etc. So the idea is to make corporations mindful of how much they are using and how much they are impacting the environment. Including these environmental aspects ensures resilience in companies and financial institutions to withstand various climate-related adversities. Social factors. These take into account the social relationships of corporations with labor, talent, data privacy. Policies of fair pay, benefits to employees, and diversity are covered under this social aspect. G stands for governance. That is the internal system of control, policies, and procedures of corporations, and refers to how ethically the management is conducting its activities. These three ESG factors play a role in the sustainability and assessing the ethical impact of any investment by any company. Material ESG factors in environment, like I said, have already been laid out: supply waste management, raw material sourcing. An EY report of 2020 said that 72% investors carry out a structured review of ESG performance, whereas in 2018, only 32% investors used to do so. Tech Mahindra, Infosys, Wipro are a part of the Dow Jones Sustainability Index, which assesses the ESG performance of companies globally. I have a very interesting example of how, if a company ignores environmental aspects, they can literally pay for it. Volkswagen emission test scandal. I have only come across this recently, and you'll be interested to know. Volkswagen had installed a defeat device which systematically improved the performance of the vehicle emission control system. Basically, their software ensured that the emissions did not met the regulatory parameters but actually exceeded the legal limits. This scandal has cost Volkswagen $35 billion in fines and civil settlements. This has also led to a recall of millions of vehicles. Volkswagen has asked for €1 billion from its ex-CEO, Martin Winkelton. This is the highest ever claim for damages against a company executive in Germany. So this is where literally, because they were trying to cheat out the environment, the country, the economy, the world, they are literally paying for it, and now they are blaming the top management that had possibly been responsible for these decisions. COVID-19 has acted as a wake-up call for investors to accelerate ESG compliances. And I'm now going to very briefly talk about ESG and CSR. ESG is not entirely a new concept. Earlier and even now we are familiar with the concept of CSR. Both are parts of corporate governance. Both are adoption of practices and policies by corporations that are intended to have a positive influence on the world. And ESG scores are publicly available so that companies can assess them. Companies can be assessed by investors on their ESG compliance levels. On May 10th, 2021, SEBI issued a circular containing a format of business responsibility reports by listed entities. These require specific disclosures on ESG compliances of companies. So this is just a broad outline of what companies are expected to do now as mandated by the SEBI as well.
Great, fantastic.
Great.
वोल्क्सवैगन का अगर इतना प्रॉब्लम है तो हम लोग एक स्टार्टअप क्यों ना कर लें कि गाड़ियों को जो रिटर्न करना है उसका कुछ हम क्लियर कर लें. We can make a startup on that. कि सारी गाड़ियों को इतनी millions of गाड़ी उनकी चली हैं, so we can create a company which will return back everything to them, and legally she will protect us. I hope so. Governance. She was insisting on the governance. Let me tell you, Bacha Party, the best thing is to you govern yourself. Be your governors. You will find that the acceleration will be best. I'm telling you. But still, we have to sustain. Now for that, I have a very, very fantastic man to speak on it, who has sustained in Indian Army to deliver the goods. And that is what? The protection. But still, I will always say that I'm grateful to all of you that all of you are not planning to join Indian Army. I'm grateful. Because somebody has to look after the internal affairs also. But as far as the borders are concerned, like in the morning session you heard that now the enemy is not at the border, it is inside. So I would like to know from Colonel Pillai that, sir, from our side we would like to honor you with another Shaurya Chakra. If you are able to tell us how we can sustain internal safety and security. Difficult, I know, but Shaurya Chakra का इतना तो आपको देना पड़ेगा.
This question is out of syllabus. You are reminding me of my school days. I'm very weak in Hindi. I'm from South Kerala. So I was in a boarding school and I used to look after my Hindi master. I used to fill water for him. So I asked him, sir, Nibandh mein kya aayega? He said, a kusti ka match. So I prepared that and went, and then in the Hindi test it was, ek adbhut rail yatra. So I got confused. I said, "Sir, kya karu?" He said, "Gaadi ko roke kusti ka match dekho." I will come back to the same thing that I prepared for. So about sustainable development, I want to start with a little story. Like we all heard of this, that story of the golden goose, the golden eggs lay karta tha. There was a bird that used to give an egg every day, one golden egg. So that farmers were very happy earlier. Farmer and his wife was very happy. Ki roz ek sone ka anda mil raha hai. And finally what happened, they got greedy. And they said, let us take out the manufacturing process of this. And they killed the goose thinking they'll get the gold, complete gold from there in one shot. And that hen died, the goose died, that is. And then they couldn't get any more golden eggs. And that is what we are doing in our quest for sustainability. Why sustainability is important is because in our quest for wealth, in this generation's quest for wealth, we are actually killing our environment. Sustainable development is something where we are using what is available for our needs while preserving the future needs. It is very important, to understand this. So today, like Professor Sopori had explained and enlightened us, it is the legacy of about 150 years. Developed countries have actually created all these problems that we find in climate change, the ozone layer depletion, the carbon emissions and everything. But the blame is being put on countries like India, like us. Today we are a sixth of the world's population. We are nearly 1.5 billion people, which is a lot of people. And the government and the country has a responsibility. We are the lowest per capita emitters. But there's a lot of pressure. It's like, the rules are according to the most powerful countries. Like when those countries blew their atom bomb, then they created a non-proliferation treaty. And then they prevented us from joining the nuclear club. So this is not fair for us because we also have a responsibility to this thing. And that's why you find India had played a great role in the 1972 conference in Stockholm and the later 1992 conference in Rio de Janeiro. It's called the Rio Declaration, in which we came up with this, the world came up with the sustainable goals. The first sustainable development conference came up there, and India played a great role then and as it plays today. Like even today, we are a country which is in the forefront of climate change. We are highly responsible in our emissions, in our capabilities, in everything. In fact, we have achieved some of our targets. Professor Sopori told us about the 17 SDGs, in which sustainable cities and sustainable energy, sustainable water are very important. And now, why would we think that it is part of our nature? It is there in our culture. I grew up in a home where we had wells. Today you all have water coming in your taps. We had to draw wells when we went to our grandfather in Kerala. We had to draw water from the well, and we were very careful because it required your energy to. It was not just turning a tap. Nowadays you just put your hand in front, the water comes out for you. It was not so easy. We grew up in a society where, we grew up in a very poor country, by the way. My generation, my father's generation suffered Winston Churchill's policies of taking away all the rice and wheat that was grown here for their war efforts. Millions of people died here. They grew up on rations. We in our times, in 60s and 70s India, we've collected atta, which is, this thing, and we've taken to the chakki and pissoed it. So it's a lot of hard work that we've done. We lived through time. We got up in the morning at 3 o'clock to fill water in our tanks. We had power cuts. We never had electricity 24 hours. We lived through very tough times. And today, this generation, you have a lot of responsibility. Because for us, this is a luxury to be in an auditorium like this with, comfortable sofas and the cushioned chairs. We sat in benches in our classroom. So we have really progressed as a country. We've really come far. But you must remember that there is a responsibility in you, and that is something I want to tell you about our cultural inheritance. When I was telling you about the wells, a village had tanks, villages, temples had ponds, and nobody desecrated that. Nobody made those ponds bad, or nobody made those wells bad. There was a respect for our environment. We worshipped the mountains, rivers, and environment that is there, and we allowed it to nourish us. We worship all that we cherish, like we call the Mother Earth, and that's what the first time the Europeans called. It was in Rio de Janeiro, where they recognized the earth as their mother, just like ancient Indian civilization did that. So our job is to understand our responsibility towards this. It should not be lip service. It's like when you go to an ATM, and to generate, it's an ATM is running on ACs, and it has got 24-hour electricity and a lot of money, but it asks you one question: to save the environment, don't print the receipt. It's quite ridiculous. And you ask, like, I was working the International Red Cross in Geneva. I was there with them. So we had this debate about climate change. I was part of this debate, and I remember, an American telling me, we don't have a footprint. We go around everywhere in our cars. It's you guys who are walking everywhere. So reduce your carbon footprint. Reduce your like Gandhiji had said, that there is enough for everyone's need, but not for greed. And I think that is the key, that we as a generation can fulfill our needs by fulfilling our needs by only exactly like what our ancient families, our ancestors did, that they only kept and sustainability is about taking only that much which can be nourished, not taking more than what we can actually have. And I think that is the key. And as about sustaining our in good internal security environment also requires that we respect each other's boundaries, respect each other's interests and limits, and where we can do. I remember a small little joke when I was in school. We talked about freedom and liberty. So there was this guy who was rotating his umbrella. So he rotated. I am a free man. I can do what I want. So his umbrella hit somebody's nose and he hit him back. So then there was a question. He says, why did you swing it around? He said, I'm free to do this. So then they said, your liberty ends where that other man's nose begins. So I think as long as we respect that liberties and freedoms that we cherish, and we understand our needs and limit our needs and everything, I think that's a very important thing.
Fantastic. Thank you, Colonel Pillai. The golden goose and the eggs, golden eggs. Let me tell you, he had none of them, even during the service. He could never achieve the goal, because I couldn't achieve it. How can he achieve it as my junior? My seniors could not achieve it. How could I achieve it? Now that has been left to you. That is the best part. This is your opportunity to go for those eggs. Create something, do something which will give you those eggs, which will give you those, if not golden, at least the silver eggs, or for that matter, the platinum eggs. They are now platinum is quite famous now. He said when he used to go to his village was poor. They were not poor. They were more than rich. They were stinking rich. They were stinking rich in environment. They were stinking rich in culture. They were stinking rich in giving us a society where we learned everything good. And that is why today he is sitting here with us. They gave him the best part of the world, the feeling for the country, which earned him a Shaurya Chakra, the will to die for your country. Now here is your opportunity. Do it in the field where you want to. Decide that field. Wrong or right, we can decide later. But first decide for yourself that yes, what do you want to do? I'll not go for a second session because I deliberately want to keep these last 10 minutes for you. I want the left wing, my left wing, to ask that one question from any one of us, that what is confusing you or what might assist you to do well for the youth to contribute towards the nation building. Yes, one from you. Oh, you think it over. One from this side. What do you want to know? Yeah, my bench. Bolo beta, aap bolo.
So whenever we talk in mind, but as a business person, we believe that when we will try to go more sustainable, we will lose on the profits. So how do we cope up with this, and how to raise a business which is sustainable as well as profitable both for us?
Very good. Yeah, that's not to be answered by me. Luckily, the startup is here.
धंधे का मतलब होता है पैसा बनाना. Okay? So you need to make money. You need to do profitable money. When you are telling that you will be losing on the profit margins, कितना पैसा बहुत पैसा होता है. As an startup founder, as an entrepreneur, if you think that okay, Bajus is having a net worth of somewhere around $6 billion, वो उसके अभी नहीं है, and he is not going to get. He is only surviving on the salary of a CEO. When he started, that would also be like 20% or 30% lesser than the market value of the CEO salary. So you need to understand that equities are, when it gets to IPO or other, there will be merger and acquisition, then you are going to get the equity money. So just think it as a job, your job, to take care of your organization and to build it, to make it profitable. That should be your aim to start with. And बाद में once जो बोलते हैं ना कि अगर धंधा बना दिया तो पैसे भी बन जाएंगे. So just think of building a venture which is self-sustainable into nature. Then money will come. It is always secondary. Thank you.
That's a very good point. Don't wait for the returns. Don't wait for the profit. Start to karo. Chote level se karo. I think that's a very valid point. Yes, another question from this side. Oh, sorry. Yes, sir. You have the expert now.
No. Brief intervention. Actually, you have to bring in high-level technology, and your profits will be what you want to get. Because just like people are saying, use less water for producing more crops, and you are producing crops which will use less water. So the technology is there, so you will still benefit from there. And second thing, this such a complex situation, issues of this sustainability don't depend upon the ideas existing at present. You will have to create your own ideas and build on those. Because if you think within what is happening, it will not have out of box, new creation, new creativity will have to come. And that has to come from you.
Yes. My bench. Yes, please stand up. Yeah, that's a beautiful one.
Profit for the growth, but they have found a loophole. Instead of completely spending on sustainability, they are focusing on more on promotion.
Oh, good. Beautiful. You should be the income tax officer of the country. Tu marwa dega sabko. Good one. I like that. भाई 2% हमारे को दिया जाए, मार दिया जाए या छोड़ दिया जाए?
So to answer your question, I'm not sure about the exact percentage. If it is 2%, it is 2% for CSR. For CSR. So if your corporate social responsibility is, frankly, to provide for the environment and make sure that you give back, then what is 2% when you look at a big business or a small business? It's a very small thing. Frankly, sometimes courts have come in and asked in the pandemic situation, companies to ensure that oxygen generation plants are set up. They have the resources. These are very small ways of giving back. You are right that a lot of companies spend on promotion alone. But this is literally, as the name suggests and as the term suggests, corporate social responsibility. As a corporate, one always must know how to give back. If today the Tatas have a brand recall value and all that, it's because they have contributed to society in so many ways that wherever they put their magic touch, things seem to come back with a special touch of culture and the Tata touch. So 2% is really nothing. These are all ways of looking at legal loopholes, etc. But if your intention is right, if your management is on the same page and is in compliance with the law, they will make sure that in the long run everything is taken care of, from marketing to ensuring compliance with the law. I hope that answers your question.
Even if it's any style of working. Good. And still, if you have a problem in that 2%, come back to her. She'll save you. And it's only for information of everybody that 2% small, so-called small. How much small is small? ONGC has got 700 crores as only CSR per year. Only 700.
In Kerala there was a Coca-Cola plant in Plachimedu. They were extracting large amounts of groundwater, And if you saw the advertisements, it looked like Coca-Cola was one of the cleanest companies in terms of ethics and morality and all, but they were depleting natural resources. So what your point you're raising is very, very valid. And this is the same of all the big companies. They spend a lot of money to appear as angels, and they create an image. Whereas, like I had just mentioned about Tata's being responsible and doing things beyond responsibility. One of the first acts of kindness that the House of Tata showed was when the Jamshedji's wife sold her diamond to look after the condition of people in Bombay, and they've been continuing that. We've seen that happening, and so they touch a particular chord in our, and I remember when we were in the 70s, we used to see ads like, we also make steel. Tata, that was something where they really does. So what you say is very correct, what the companies project. There's a Netflix series on, the name is, it's about sustainable development only. It's a beautiful series in which they showed that the biggest polluters were actually showing the environment as clean and others, and they're projecting an image as angels. So that's very true. Those companies have deep pockets. They're capable of doing something, and 2% is nothing. If you really do that 2%, it comes back in greater measure to you. So when you do become businessmen, you must remember that there's a lot of ethics in giving back to the society, and it only multiplies further. It doesn't really take away from you, because the goodwill, the brand recall, the loyalty that you generate is very important. These companies would benefit in the long run.
No, like you said, Colonel Pillai, this is exactly what you may be. I understand your question now. You see, you may be promoting and doing less, but it hurts the company in the long run, and you will be caught out by the law. Because we are talking of sustainability, and you are talking about promoting, advertising what people have done without actually doing it. There is an expression known as greenwashing, where companies pretend or give the impression that they are doing sustainable work when they are actually not. I just thought I'd take this opportunity to introduce the concept to you.
Fantastic, great. And being a disciplined soldier, I will take it forward that my time is up. I am over by, I think, 1 minute or so. I would request everybody to stand and give a standing ovation to our guest who has enlightened us so much. Thank you, sirs. Very kind of you. You have been a great friend, and thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.